Okay, in this video we are talking about medians and the centroid of a triangle. So the median of a triangle is a line segment from the vertex of the triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So we have a line segment from the vertex of the triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. Medians are used to find the centroid. So if we see here, from A to G, we need to add something because G has to be a midpoint. So we add our tick marks to show that G is a midpoint. E has to be a midpoint, so we show our tick marks, and F has to be a midpoint. So we add all of our tick marks. So E, F, and G are all midpoints for their sides. Okay? And point D, which is the intersection of all of the medians, is our centroid. Okay? And we say all this stuff right here where it says BE is congruent, segment BE is congruent to segment EA. That's what we added the tick marks for. Now, an important thing that we should note is that we can calculate distances based on the centroid by saying that the distance from the centroid to the vertex is 2/3 the entire median. And the centroid of the midpoint to the midpoint is 1/3. So what that means is that from the angle or the vertex of my triangle to the centroid, whatever this whole median is, if I multiply it by 2 and then divide by 3, I will get this piece from A to D. And if I take the whole median and divide it by 3, I will get from D to G. And we see that here. AD is equal to 2/3 of AG, and DG is equal to 1/3 AG. So we can see all that. I would set it up this way if I was working problems. The centroid is where the three medians are concurrent. It is located in the interior of the triangle. So notice my acute, my obtuse, and my right. The centroid is inside all three, unlike the orthocenter, which could be inside, on, or outside. So, if we have medians, remember it goes through the midpoints on each side from the vertex. And it meets inside the triangle. Okay? Let's do some examples of how to calculate things based off of the median. So here, it tells me that find XS if TS is 2. Okay? Well, it says each figure shows a triangle with one or more medians. We know that a median goes from the vertex to the midpoint, so X is a midpoint since I have RX is a median. So because this is true, we know that X is a midpoint, which means this guy and this guy are the same, which means that I could say that part plus part equals whole, where X plus X are my parts, which equals whole. I know that I have 2X is equal to, well, not whole, 2. 2X is equal to 2, so X equals 1. So XS is equal to 1. Now it says find UE if FE is 8. So we're trying to find UE, which is our X. We know that FE is 8. Okay? Once again, we know that DU is a median, which means that U is a midpoint. So we do the same process that we just did. We know that both of those sides are congruent, so we can say that part plus part equals whole. where my two sides are congruent, so x plus x is equal to 8. And then we know that 2x is equal to 8, so x is equal to 4. Therefore, UE is equal to 4. Lastly, we have example 3 where it says find x if HM is equal to 5x plus 1 and MQ is equal to 3x. Well, we know that HQ is a median. And if we notice from H to M, that is our vertex to our centroid. And since it's our vertex to the centroid, we know that it's going to be 2/3 of the whole median, which is 2/3 of HQ is equal to MH. Which means that for MQ, we know that MQ is 1/3 of HQ, which is equal to MQ. So then we can go through and we can rearrange some things. So if I multiply both sides here, so that HQ is by itself, and I multiply both sides by 3/2, I now have HQ is equal to 3MH over 2. And if I do the same thing for my other guy, by multiplying both sides by 3, I get HQ is equal to 3 times MQ. And now that I have that arrangement, I can say that these two equations equal each other. So I can say that because of the transitive property, since both of these guys equal HQ, they should equal each other. So 3MH over 2 is equal to 3MQ. And now I can plug in what MH and MQ are, or HM. And so I get 3 times my 5x plus 1, all divided by 2, is equal to 3 times MQ, just 3x. I need to distribute. We're going to rewrite it over here because I'm running out of space. So we end up with 15x plus 3 all divided by 2 is equal to 9x. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2 on the bottom here. The 2's cancel, so I'm left with 15x plus 3 is equal to 18x. I subtract 15x from both sides. I get 3 is equal to 3x. I divide by 3. So x equals 1. And that's what it asked me to find. It told me to find x. And that is how we use the medians to solve the various examples.